It drove me crazy to not be able to say that I like Trump. Because think about it, it's me. Imagine me not being able to say what I wanted. What was the point of being famous? What was the point of having, millions of people love your music?
Carlson, tonight, Kanye West, now known as Ye, is one of the best-selling musical artists in the world. He has also in recent years become a celebrated and very highly paid fashion designer. But it's West's latest incarnation as a kind of Christian evangelist. Days ago, during Fashion Week in Paris, West, accompanied by his friend Candace Owens, unveiled a T-shirt that read simply, "White Lives Matter." The response from the fashion industry and international media was instantaneous and uniform: shock, horror, rage. West is legitimizing extremism, shrieked Rolling Stone, etc., etc. What was strikingly missing from the coverage, however, was any explanation for why West did this. What was the T-shirt about? No one seemed to think to ask him, much less to listen to what he had to say. But is West crazy? You can judge for yourself as you watch what we're about to show you. He has his own ideas, we can say that. Creative people tend to. That's why they're artists, not actuaries. But crazy? That was not our conclusion. In fact, we've rarely heard a man speak so honestly and so movingly about what he believes. But again, you can judge for yourself. Here it is.
It drove me crazy to not be able to say that I like Trump. Because think about it, it's me. Imagine me not being able to say what I wanted. What was the point of being famous? What was the point of having, millions of people love your music? What was the point of having a voice if you can't even use your own voice and connect it to your own opinions?
Yes.
That's where the disconnect happened. Because you got something you're thinking, you're told you're not allowed to say it in public. I never actually told people that I liked Trump when he was running because I was bullied by Hollywood, because I stayed in Hollywood and people were like, think about your kids, and I'm trying to hold on to the marriage, so I'm just biting my tongue. Like, there's so many fathers and mothers that go to work every day and they're in a situation where they're biting their tongue because they think it will be better for their children.
That's right.
So even me in my position, I was biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up and my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. So they don't teach even Christmas itself, Christ Mass. And what they do is take all of the celebrities, the actors, the basketball players, and they throw them in this one school and they indoctrinate the kids. So my son's psalm is brilliant. So right now, they're looking to figure out how to indoctrinate him to make him be another part of the system. I have a choir at my school. So right now, we've come to a compromise, but I'm not finished because I don't compromise. But we come to a compromise when my kids go to my school after school and they learn choir. I sat there with my son and he came and he said, why do I need to sing? I don't even go to your school. So imagine the 16-year-old version of that guy, the 26-year-old version of that guy, where the father doesn't have say-so of what the kids are watching, what the kids are wearing, what the kids are eating, who the kids are hanging out with.
Do you talk to Obama still?
I was Obama's favorite artist. He actually met with me. Obama met with me and my mama to say that he was running for office back in 2008. And that he wanted the support. And everybody was so into this idea of the black president. And, how many of us are there? Obama level, Ye level, black, so brilliant that we cut through all of the lines of racism. Like, soon as I wasn't saying the things that I was supposed to say as a rapper, our connection faded.
So you don't talk to him anymore?
I'll talk to him if I see him.
Yep.
But like when companies get the BLM managers.
What's a BLM manager?
Black Lives Matter office manager is basically you get a semi-influential black person to become the face of a white company.
Yeah.
Right. So that means like in the design world, in the art world, they actually would pick artists that were less talented than other artists based on their influence. Not based on their actual work, because everyone is vying for influence and an opinion. Everyone is afraid of losing their opinion. So with Nike, right? Nike is as famous as, you say Nike's more famous than PayPal, right?
Yeah.
Right. What number company do you think PayPal is?
I don't know.
Number 4.
Overall?
Overall, you got, well, you know the number 1 is, right? It's Apple.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting number 2, but number 3 is McDonald's. Then SpaceX is maybe 6 or 7. It's really interesting that as lit as Elon is, his previous company is actually still worth more than SpaceX. So what number company do you think Nike is, the Nike? Number 321. It's not there to be as big a financial company as it can be. It's there as an influencer because black people love Nike. So the reason why Gap wanted me to go to Gap, it wasn't based on, oh, we need to get our stocks up. You know, it's like these companies, when they've been around for a long time, and everyone, all of these American companies somehow took this deal where they start putting in these really awkward, weird number kind of CEOs. Like Nike's got one, the Gap had one, it didn't work out. And there's all of these weird operators inside of companies. Even in Balenciaga, you know. And they're just there for control. Steve Jobs talked about it. It's the most important thing you can have is control. Look at me, all the money, all the influence, and I have to act a complete ass to have any say-so of anything that my children are doing, because that group of people have control and say-so over all the children inside of the clan. So that's what these companies are set up for. That's the type of CEOs they're hiring, especially when the founders are out of there. They kind of just give the companies up to a bunch of people, and they're all in cahoots. Like anyone that ever worked with me, they just look at, oh, who's Ye farming for talent that we can hire to be our new BLM office manager, like kind of like Obama.
What do you think of Obama as a BLM office manager?
Best one ever.
Yeah.
Best one ever. And you know, I think Obama, just like Virgil, these people were truly black to their core and truly brilliant to their core. But they went into situations thinking that they could do it the white way as a black man. And we saw what color Obama's hair was when he went in, and we saw what color it was when he went out. So when I have techniques that are revolutionary, if I raise my voice, if I express myself on Instagram, it's a colonic. And people can say, oh, this what you're doing is toxic. If what I'm saying is toxic, I gotta do everything to get it out of my body. And there'll be times where I see a level of like oppression, Parisian proper, like next level, you know, France owns 80% of African banks level colonization, oppression. And I'll be like, I'm not going to let you guys kill me. But one thing that has to really happen, say if Trump ran, right? We're not just going to be black influence. We're going to be vision and creativity. We've got to rethink who we are as a species. Right now, we practice killing ourselves every day. Like, murder is legal in America, you know.
In abortion.
Yes. Whoever gets the position needs to listen to the vision. I didn't know it was gonna rhyme when I first started. They need to have Elon, they need to have me. You should start with those two, and then we'll get to the rest of them. We could pull in a Johnny Ives, we'll pull in all of our living, super brilliant people. And we need to analyze and put God first. And the best representation of God is the children. The children is the extension of the family. Put the families first. There's so many things, suburbs.
So you just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and you have a lanyard still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office, and I liked him.
Yes.
And every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to, you know, my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me, like, if I said that I liked Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They put my life. They basically said that I would be killed for wearing the hat. I had someone call me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, you know, God builds warriors in a different way. I don't know if it's because of me being born in Atlanta and growing up on the south side of Chicago that, you know, he made me for such a time like this. It's like with David, you know, he tended to the sheep, but while he was out there, he had to fight all kinds of animals. So when it was time for Goliath to come, you thought because he was a sheep herder that he didn't have the skill set to take down Goliath. And the thing that I have is the position, I have my heart, but the number one thing is we have God on our side. And for the people, even if you don't believe in God, God believes in you.
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter T-shirt, which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. You know, we are in a battle with the media. Like, the majority of the media has a godless agenda. And, you know, my dad is an educated ex-Black Panther, and he put a text to me today. He said, "White Lives Matter, ha, 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 ha." And I said, I thought the shirt was a funny shirt. I thought the idea of me wearing it was funny. And I said, "Dad, why do you think it was funny?" He said, just a black man stating the obvious. Yeah. And, you know, my dad doesn't listen to rap music, and he's like super educated. We opened up a water distribution center in the Dominican Republic together. He's like the original Steve Jobs, but he was getting blocked every which way with all of his ideas, and he didn't have an endless bank account, and he didn't have an Instagram. So all these ideas, he had to like take them back and compress them. Like, my dad is the most brilliant person that I know, and we actually have a strained relationship because I was taken from him, because my mom was an actress, so she was a liberal. And my dad would see certain things and say, you know, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. And the people got around my mom and pulled her away, much like, you know, Kim is a Christian, but she has people who want her to go to Interview magazine and put her ass out while she's a 40-something-year-old multi-billionaire with 4 black children. And this is how fashion wants to, how they want to present her. So I know you give these questions, and I give you like these 3-part answers. Is this a cool format for you?
Yeah, I love it.
Following? Okay, cool.
And I am following it.
All right.
So you said that your father said when he saw the shirt White Lives Matter, it's great to see a black man stating the obvious. So by which I think you meant that's obviously true.
Yeah, that's my favorite response, because I kept on thinking, like, you know, people, they're looking for an explanation, and people say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
So the answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. So, and I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black. My dad grew up as a military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And when the schools suggested, like, the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. There's so many things that are put in Kim's head. They bring influencers. Like, no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of. And if you have a person that isn't afraid of them, Candace Owens, right. It's not that we have to agree with this, but
they're not afraid.
They're not afraid to state what their opinion is.
Yes.
No one is God, and everyone has an opinion.
So a conversation like this is a window into a world that you don't see. So if you're familiar with West from the media, you think of him as an individual man. What you don't think about is that he is at the center of a battle, and people like him are at the center of a battle to get a message out.